How's it going, everybody? It's Frisby Moonsong here. Yow! And today we have Netimar over here, who is one of the newer members of Yu-Gi-Oh! At our local scene there at the Nexus. So, Netimar, what brought you back into the game? I'm pretty sure you played it and watched the series a long time ago.
100%. I did play a little bit during the Goat format, and I got into it a little bit when synchros were introduced. Then, took that hiatus, grew a beard. Now I'm back, got a little bit of time, and, want to see what these cards have in store for me again.
Okay, so one of the questions I wanted to ask as a new player, I know that you actually started to look at the starter series on the channel.
Yes.
What was your thought of it, and how did it kind of like get you into the game? Did it help? Did the advice work?
It definitely did help. I think the starter series answered a lot of final questions that I had coming back in. I went on a deep dive trying to learn as much as I could. I came in with a lot of loose information. Like I knew what pendulum summons did kind of, and I knew what link monsters did. I didn't know if you could attack link monsters with other monsters. And I watched the first 20 episodes of Link into the Veins or whatever it's called, because I was trying to, can you attack? Can you attack with this? I was starving, and I found all those last really bottom of the barrel answers I was looking for in the starter series. So it's definitely a go-to, definitely something you should watch if you're deciding to come into the game.
Thank you so much. And we have already one of your first decks. What are we playing recently? What have we started to build?
We have started to build what might be my latest pride and joy. Very glad at how this came out. This is our Marincess deck.
Yes.
And she is beautiful.
So if you guys have been watching on Water Weekend, we have been playing this deck as well to test it out. We've been theory crafting it, and Mr. Netimar has built the deck. So today we are going to be looking at the deck list of cards and what chaos he shall ensue at our locals coming up soon. So yeah, this is what we've got. It's actually been doing really well recently. I'm sure you guys have seen the video. So without further ado, let's get straight into the deck profile. Let's go straight for it.
All right, so right here we've got 3 copies of Marincess Blue Tang.
Now, okay, this is the one card starter, right?
This is the one card starter. It doesn't get any better than this. When you see this in your hand, it's lunch. It's lunchtime, baby.
I heard a lot of people saying this kind of reminds them of, I think this is before you started, but Prank Kids and stuff. I'm pretty sure before you got here, Prank Kids was hit on the ban list. And this card kind of gives that feel back of the one card Link 1 starter that brings out your whole combo. So I see why it's pretty broken.
100%, because it's, I mean, I don't even think people realize just how versatile Tang is, because with Tang, you can go standard full combo. Tang is the perfect way to swerve into something else if you're trying to misdirect your opponent. And she's perfect for setting up something in the future. For example, if you're sending your Sleepy Maiden to the graveyard, simply so that you can equip her to something else.
The Foolish Burial of Tang is really, really good. And also there's the Excavation, which is just fun. It's testing your lottery.
It's also a great way to chain block for your Slug or your Angel down the line.
Because Ash is now really prominent. Okay, cool. Let's go on to the next monster of the lot.
Next, we have the small yet feisty Marincess Seahorse.
Oh, we got the Seahorse.
This is another one who is great to have in almost any point in the duel, because it helps to extend your plays. You can also go full combo with just one of these in your hand.
That's pretty insane.
You can go from Seahorse to Bubble Reef or Argonaut, and all you need is just one of these in your hand. Just one normal summon can set everything off.
That's pretty crazy. I love that. All right, moving on. Let's see. So we got the Blue Tang, we got the Seahorse. So this is basically the core we're going through at the moment.
100%.
We got 3 of the new girl.
Ooh, Spring Girl. I always like to say Tang is the one that's all friendly, and Spring Girl is the one that's bougie. You know what I mean? She's the one who's no, you can't sit with us.
Yeah, she's really good for extending, apparently.
Great for extending. There are so many times where, let's say you got nibbed, or you get Ghost Ogre, then you have to start from scratch, and you have to start again, and your normal summon is gone. And due to her excellent effect, where you can banish You can banish a Marincess card, and then you can special summon her, and you can just start right over again.
That's pretty insane. Yeah.
She comes so clutch.
And her mill effect is also really good, like the sending from deck to grave, because anything that has a grave effect just kicks off, which is really nice. Like token collector.
100%.
You mill a token collector and you're hitting gold.
100%. You always want to have a Spring Girl and a Tang, like in your starting hand.
Best opening hand.
Exactly. It's either a Seahorse, a Tang, or a Spring Girl, because it's also nice to have these to be able to chain block your Slug or your Angel. Just standard. She's such an excellent addition to this deck.
Alrighty.
Next, we have 2 copies of Pascalis.
Okay.
And 2 copies, especially because you don't really want to start with Pascalis in hand. She's really something that helps boost the play. You don't really want to start with her if you can avoid it.
She's more like an extender rather than like a combo starter kind of thing.
100%. If you can bring her out via summoning her from the grave and then triggering her effect to special summon from hand, or if you can get her out of the deck with a Marincess Dive, for an example, she is such an excellent spice up to really turn the tables, because let's say you're going in from turn 2, if you're going in at turn 2 and you like really want to get the ball rolling, want to set up your field, she's something that you're really going to want to pull out of the blue to get things going.
I noticed one thing that she's really good at as well in the weekend is that even if your opponent has destruction, usually she's good to start off with, sometimes going second, because then she gets a free summon from hand. And then even if your opponent has just like 1 destruction, you don't lose your link 1, because you don't just normal summon and it gets destroyed. You're like, oh well, there goes that plan, you know?
Exactly.
So
and it's also really good to have her in the grave, because you can banish her and get back a Marincess Spell card. So you banish her and you get back your Roshan, or you get back your Dive.
Or you get back the wave and you
get back. Exactly.
You make everything unaffected again.
Exactly. It's just back to the crazy Marincess shenanigans. She's very efficient in the deck and in the grave, and sometimes in your hand. And then last but definitely not least, we have the Marincess Sleepy Maiden.
One of the new additions as well.
100%. You're not going to see much of her in traditional play. She's got a big booty, which does help. When playing defensively. But you're really going to get the most out of her when you're sending her to the grave, so that you can make just that extra equip play when you're equipping to your final link monster. Or even if you just need something in the graveyard to keep your opponent guessing. She's an excellent just bait and switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can always keep your opponent on their toes. And you can also use her to tribute summon in a really sticky situation. Because she's a level 5.
There's apparently this new card that's coming out for Elbaz that literally says you can't summon. So this was actually the out to that, funny enough. So it's a good option for that. There you go.
100%. So she can be incredibly versatile whenever the situation calls for it. Next, we have 2 copies of the very, very necessary Marincess Dive.
This is insane. Ultra worthy. Like it's really as good as it deserves to be.
100%
for the printing.
On an ordinary day, it's a classic Marincess Monster Reborn. When you have Ocean on the field, it's so much more. You get to special summon from your deck.
Oh, that's insane.
At practically no cost. And like I said before, you use this, you get your Pascalis out of the deck or even out of the graveyard, and you're off to the races.
And it can be added back with like any card just about, because your cards are recursive like crazy. So
100%.
Okay, that's cool.
You banish Pascalis, get this back from the graveyard. The only problem is it is a once per turn, so like it's not something that you're going to be throwing around like crazy. But as long as you can keep getting it back in your hand, which you can,
and
fine.
It's searchable, so that's good as well. So that's really nice.
I need to stop saying
going on with the spells. Keeping it 100. That's going to be the logo for the deck.
Keeping it 100 with the Marincess. Next, we have our field spell, Marincess Battle Ocean. We play 1 copy because this is completely searchable, and you're going to want to look for it. It's going to be rare that you want to start with this in your hand.
Almost never.
Almost never, because it is very bricky.
Yeah.
But it's very effective. It gives a 200 attack boost to all your Marincess monsters. Or is that actually all water monsters?
Or Marincess.
All Marincess, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, that's all Marincess monsters get a 200 attack bonus, and you can use its effect to equip link monsters to a link monster that was made while this was on the field.
Yeah.
So if you go into your into anything, if you go into your anemone, if you go into your coral triangle, you go into your bubble reef, your Argonaut.
Who knew Blue Slug could be so OP?
Right.
There we go.
It also gives you the added benefit that if you link something using Crystal Heart as material, that monster is then completely unaffected by any card effect.
That's cool.
Which is very, very useful. So this is a must-have.
And now on to the most broken trap in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oof. This right here. I remember I played this in a casual game, and then when I pulled it out, everyone who was watching the game was just like, ooh.
I think it's the unaffected part that people...
Yeah, it's the unaffected part that people
just
really...
makes everything unaffected.
Exactly. Not only do you get to essentially imperm your opponent's monster, if you have a link 3 or higher, you can essentially activate this from hand in any person's turn, right? At any time. It's completely nullifying the set that needs to happen.
It's one of those things like, let me read that. Oh, wait, you know what? Never mind.
Exactly.
Have you read Wave? Do you know what Wave does? I don't care what your card does. I just know what Wave does. That's all.
So yeah, this is definitely something you want to have in hand when you have a link 3 or higher. And even in the case that you have a link 1 or 2, you can always still surprise your opponent where you can set it and then activate it, because all you need is a link monster on the field to really get the most out of this card. So even with the link 1, it's still completely useful to you.
It's still imperm, so that's really good.
100%. And you can search it with Coral Triangle. It's
the new baby.
Yeah.
All right, here we go for, is that the end of the main core, right?
That is the end of the main core. Next, we have our hand trap special, our defense against the dark arts.
So we got, so what are the hand trap lineup? We got 3 Ash. What else do we have?
We've got 3 Ash and another
3 Ogre,
3 Ogre.
3 Ogre doing really well in the format.
3 Effect Veiler. Just necessary. And then let me just move these aside.
Yes, all the girls aside to make
all
way.
All the girls aside. Make way for the biggest rock to ever drop.
We have the Nibiru. I think one thing that's really cool, like besides the fact that this is like combo starter, is that a lot of this deck is actually really affordable to build as well.
100%.
Like for example, ogres and veilers are easy to get in the structure decks, and the Marincess stuff has been reprinted. So a lot of the stuff is pretty affordable. I mean, Ash is probably the only thing that's not.
Yeah.
But that is like tough to get anyway. And maybe Nibiru's, but still it's still quite an affordable deck to build, which is really motivating for new players as well, I think.
Yeah, and what helps is a lot of people are just giving away the Marincess stuff because they've had it up to here with Marincess. So a lot of people have been seeing how well this deck performs, and they're like, where are my Marincess cards?
Oh, wait, I gave them away. As people don't notice, like, oh, Marincess Dive is good? What?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So this gets the added benefit of just being an excellent underdog deck. And these hand traps help keep most of your opponent's plays at bay, so that if let's say you're going second, or you are somehow stopped in your first turn, if you have some of these in your hand, it just gives you a little bit of an upper hand going into your second or third turn.
So full hand of hand traps plus blue tang is game, right?
That's game for sure. That's game for sure. You get started, you get your combo going, in their turn you completely stop all their plays.
Yeah.
Turn 3, your ass is grass, honey. Next, we have the very necessary for any Cybers deck.
Oh, yeah.
3 Signet Miners.
Signet Miners. This is also quite affordable to get because of the tins, but I know it's it's quite scarce now considering the tins were a while ago. Yeah. But this is still pretty... I think you could find it in quite high quantities in certain places, and there's a lot of spares that people might have. So this is also really nice. Yeah.
I honestly, I say do what you have to do in order to get one of these in your deck, even if you just have to borrow one for the day.
Yeah.
Because these are so essential, I feel, to any Cybers deck. They're great in the Salaman Great deck. and they're great once again in this Marincess deck.
Especially when you're running like 15 plus hand traps. You open a handful of hand traps and one Signet Mining, and then you can choose which trap to keep and not.
Exactly. And also because of how a lot of these Marincess effects happen in the grave, you can use your Signet Mining. Let's say you have a Pascalis in hand. You can put Pascalis in the graveyard, which is probably where you want her the most, and then get something more useful out of your deck.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is definitely a must-have.
And sometimes it can be Ashbay to
Oh, yes, definitely. I've betted a lot of people out with the Signet Mining. Next, we have the no introductory needed.
Ooh, OG style. Okay. What's the reason for the Monster Reborn?
So this Monster Reborn really just helps make the plays a little bit more efficient, like at the end of the day, this is still very much a game that is dependent on your luck, and sometimes you're not very lucky. Sometimes you're not going to have the perfect starter, you're not always going to get a blue Tang in hand. So this Monster Reborn helps you keep the combo going in a situation where your monster effects maybe might run out or cannot be activated. This helps keep things fresh, and when you're in a pinch, this will bring back a heavy hitter or bring back something that can get your combo started again.
So if any of you are watching the videos from this week, if you noticed on the day 1 video against the Sky Striker player, we managed to summon back our opponent's Shizuku, which is a water monster. So we were able to continue our link climb, avoiding our opponent from being able to banish cards from our own grave that we target. So it's actually really good because it's kind of like having another dive, except it's not searchable, but also you can target anything, which is really cool.
Exactly. Being able to special summon from either graveyard is an excellent addition to have. So this is just a nice little nifty play that you can play in this deck as opposed to, playing like 2 Oceans or something.
Yeah.
Next, we have 2 copies of
Triple Tactics Talent. Yes.
Which I think is very self-explanatory. This is just a very broken card to have in any deck. But it's very useful because Marincess, especially at the start of your combo, might not have a lot of stoppages to interruptions.
They can be quite fragile.
Exactly. So when your opponent starts getting very feisty and playing in your own turn, even in a situation where they break your board, you can drop a talent and you can take control of their monster, stop everything in its tracks, or you can draw 2 cards, and then that card advantage is crazy. Like let's say you draw into a Tang and a Spring Girl, or you draw into a Reborn and a Seahorse, just anything, crazy setup, because this deck is so versatile.
Because it's just like 1 card combo, so you just need to draw 1 of those and you're fine,
Exactly. And sometimes you don't even need like the monster control or to look into the opponent's hands. That draw 2 in this Marincess deck is so it's
at the end of the turn you just draw 2 and
you know what I mean.
You just they ashed you, and it wasn't an important ash, so you just end up drawing 2 hand traps at the end of your turn. Which can be insane as well.
But definitely a must-have. Definitely. Next, we have 2 Desires. So this is once again just to help you get into the cards that you really need. It's also very very nice to be able to have all the cards that you need in one hand because of just how searchable everything is, and then hit the Desires so that you can just get something nice and handy that you might need going into your second turn.
It's also kind of like high risk, high reward, because sometimes if you open like a really dead hand and Desires is your only option, you kind of need it. You might banish your wave or something, but it's also one of those kind of things. So.
Another thing I like to do is, like, if you're using your Signet Mining as ash bait, you use the Signet, right? And then the ash. And since that discard was like the 1 cost, I mean, it's you don't want to like use the 10 cost off the bat. I mean, unless you're like trying to loop it around, unless you know that they're not going to block the Signet, but like more often than not, you can have them ash the Signet, and then once that's gone, you hit the Desires, and then you really get what you need.
There you go.
100%.
And then we have the 1-off, obviously.
Of course.
You play it in every deck, so.
Just to defend yourself, very useful when going first. Also against certain decks where the graveyard can be particularly pesky.
Eldritch.
Yeah, so.
And then the last 3 of our main deck.
The last 3.
Okay, the imperms, the last 3 hand traps. Okay, basically more Vedas. All right, let's move on to the extra deck we'll go for next, I do believe.
Of course. Here we are. There she is in all her splendor.
Okay, so we
2
got
copies of Marincess
cool.
Blue Slug.
2 blue slug for the starter, and the other starter is the...
The other starter is, of course, 2 copies of Marincess Sea
Okay,
Angel.
so these are your link ones that you'll be covering in the deck. I do believe Blue Slug adds back, and the Sea Angel is the spell search. I hear people say, yeah.
So Blue Slug will definitely add back a Marincess card in the graveyard back to hand. And Marincess Sea Angel will search for a Marincess spell so you can get into your ocean or your dive depending on what you need or what play you're trying to go for.
Okay. And then we have...
Next, we have 2 copies of Anemone. So this is essentially what the start of most of your combos look like. Slug will add back to hand. Angel will search for your spell. And Anemone gives you the ability to special summon a Marincess to a zone that it points to. And then when it's sent to the grave, you get to add one to hand from grave again.
Oh my god. So it's double add back. Alright. Alright, moving on to the rest of the Marincess. Let's see what the rest of the deck has in store. Because I know we've gotten a couple of new links that are really, really strong. So.
Oh yeah. We've got some
feisty. We can get to the last 4 boss monster links. Let's go through them. Oh, we got the Crystal Heart before we forget.
Very, very, very crucial. I mean, I still haven't been able to use any of Crystal Heart's base effects because it has some pretty broken things that you can use in certain situations, from protecting monsters that it points to. But more often than not, you're really going to want to come into Crystal Heart with your Battle Ocean on field so that you can protect another card from monster effects. Next, we have our Marbled Rock.
Okay, that's the add back.
This is the add back. In your turn, you get to add back any Marincess card from the grave to your hand, be it a wave, a dive, or a monster.
Anything, and she protects herself from battle, apparently, as well.
Yes, that too. That as well. She also has a strong attack of 2,500. So sometimes she's your warrior. You know, if you can't get to your crazy Link 4 combo, you know, you can always go into a Marbled Rock and do some heavy damage. Next, we have our Coral Triangle.
The new baby.
I
think I know she searches the trap, but I personally think her grave effect is insane.
Her grave effect is nuts. Sometimes you'll want to link into Coral Triangle just so that you can get to wave, right? But you're really doing it in a long game time, like thought process, because you know that she's going to get sent to the graveyard, whether it's by battle or something. And then she gets just your entire combo back on her own without doing anything. Exactly. All you need to do is next turn start off no monsters on the field. You banish your Coral Triangle. Boom, Anemone on field, maybe Slug, maybe Angel, maybe another Link one that you might have put in your deck, and you're off to the races, and you don't even have to normal summon.
All right, let's go into our Link 4s, see what Link 4s we have.
Woo! You don't want to mess with Marincess.
Our 2 Link 4s.
You do not want to mess with Marincess.
So we got Argonaut. This is the new one. It's a spell and trap negate, I believe.
Yes.
You have to attack it, and it bounces cards, which is insane. 100%. So it's like all you need. It's actually the real card that they needed, like, throughout the deck. They needed 1 extender and 1 boss monster that actually did something insane on the first turn.
Exactly.
And it's really good, I believe.
Aqua Argonaut is just, in the best of times, she's unstoppable.
You've seen the plays online this week, so you would know.
When you have Ocean on the field, you can get her up to 4,300. If you have Sleepy Maiden in the graveyard, you can get her up to
4,900. That's insane.
Like practically for free, all in one turn.
But then we got the beefy Link 4 next.
Right here is
Bubble Reef.
Reef. So this girl, I mean, you might see a lot of people going for Argonaut most of the time, and even playing this deck, we tend to go for Argonaut most of the time. But Bubble Reef is not to be slept on, because she's excellent for getting a hand advantage. Let's say you get Mystic Mind, or well, not Mystic Mind, but like a similar situation.
You know, where you slow down.
Where you're slowed down. She lets you like bring all the cards to your hand that you might need in order to out the trap, or destroy the field spell, or just get ahead of what's getting in your way.
She's actually really good against control decks. So
exactly. And once again, with an attack of 2,600, she can deal some damage.
And she gains 600 for each monster banished. So Fluanderies just give her attack for days. Like, not even the M-Pen can beat over it. It's insane.
So Bubble Reef is definitely something to look out for. All right, next we have our additional plays. So these aren't Marincess Link cards, but they just help make the deck a lot more efficient. We have our Splash Mage.
We've seen the Splash Mage for the extender in the thing. So
definitely good for extending or just reviving a combo. Next we have I'll go with Bahamut Shark next.
Oh, yes. There's only one reason we play this, though.
Only one reason, because your Bahamut is going to get you directly into your Totally Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a great addition to have. It just fits so perfectly into this deck, being a water monster, being an Xyz, and just being something that you can get off Bahamut Shark. It's an excellent negate to have on
and
field.
the fact that it adds back as well is really,
that
really
it
strong,
adds back is just, it fits perfectly
it
into
adds,
the Marincess.
it's so strong.
This is just crazy. Next, we have our last card, which is Kraken.
So good.
Kraken. It's got an attack of 1/9, which isn't too fierce, but its effect is really what you need to worry about.
You won in time with this thing,
this saved my ass.
You cheeky.
This really saved my ass.
It wins you in time. Just main phase summon Kraken, pop a card.
Exactly. Being able to make all monsters on the field water monsters is nuts, and being able to pop any water monster on the field is crazy, especially when you get to burn for half the attack.
Yeah.
And it's such an excellent combo to have next to an Argonaut, because then you've got like double pops.
Yeah.
You've got double pops on the field. And yeah, that's just crazy. You just get rid of a full board and you attack directly.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, let us motor through the side deck, because we're just going to go through quickly with what the side... Because side deck isn't always like crazy. It's just dependent on the meta. So let's just run through what we went through quickly. So we have
100%.
these three draw knockbirds.
3 token collectors, of course,
for the Sword matchup. Yeah, got the one DD Crow for it's like another called by in a way.
Yes,
that's gonna be put to 3 soon in the deck because of the new format. That's gonna be at 3.
Next we have, of course,
Harpies, back row hate. We have to have the back row hate.
And then, of course, more back row hate.
and more back row hate. Because Mystic Mine is prevalent now.
So prevalent. And what's going to save your ass more than more back row hate?
Yeah. So if you guys watched on the day 3, we played against Swordsaw in the final round. But we believe it was the UK Nationals list that we faced. So they main deck 3 mines. So it was good that we had that, thankfully.
This next one is just so cracked in this deck.
Oh, goes in match.
It doesn't get any better than
that. So good. And that with Kraken is just insane. The luck is too strong.
That's where you really want to make your opponent feel the burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts. That's crazy.
Insane. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Netimar, for giving us this awesome deck list. And we hope you continue to do really, really well in the locals coming up. Before we head off, is there anything you would like to say? Maybe a shout out to the community or people, any specific people? Just give a shout out. Let me know.
Yeah, of course. I want to give a shout out to all our peeps at the Nexus. You know who you are. Andrew, Harshil, you guys know who you are. And yeah, I just want to give a shout out to any NetoBros fans who might be watching. That got my own channel, the NetoBros, where we do our movie reviews, our short films, and all sorts of other crazy shenanigans. Be sure to subscribe.
Yes, and before we head off, for the new player, we have to have a gift. Considering it is Water Week, we are going to be giving you 7 booster packs of Doors of the Deep, considering there are 7 seas. And for the last gift, we are going to be giving you a box of Ghost from the Past for yourself to welcome you to the community. So welcome, and we hope you keep building up and join us in the high rank soon.
Thank you so much, guys.
And from me, Frisby Moonsong, we'll see you guys in the next video, and we hope you had an awesome Water Week. Cheers, guys. Yow!